Okay, it started. So I can put that on over there. Okay, cool. Hey, all right. So this is Grandpa Frank, Frank Villagomez. So going to do a vlog, and I don't know. I probably need to sit over there, so I'm looking at shit in the camera. But I'm going to start or share with you a spiritual journey, a journey through Scripture, a journey through the Bible that I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to start with the book of I'm going to be reading right here, just a little passage here from Luke chapter 24, beginning with verse 13, the road to Emmaus. And behold, two of them were going that very day to a village named Emmaus, which was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. And they were talking with each other about all these things which had taken place. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself approached and began traveling with them. But their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are these words that you are exchanging with one another as you are walking?" And they stood still, looking sad. One of them, named Cleophas, answered and said to him, "Are you the only one visiting Jerusalem and unaware of the things which are happening here in these days?" And he said to them, "What things?" And they said to him, "The things about Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word in the sight of God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to the sentence of death and crucified him. But we were hoping that it was he who was going to redeem Israel. Indeed, besides all this, it is the third day since these things happened. But also some women among us amazed us when they were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body. They came, saying that they had also seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just exactly as the woman also had said, but him they did not see. And he said to them, "O foolish men and slow of heart to believe in all that the prophets had spoken, was it not necessary for the Christ to suffer these things and to enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and with all the prophets, he explained to them the things concerning himself in all the scripture. Now that's verse 27, right there at the end. Then, beginning with Moses. And, we've read through that many times in church and everything, and it just kind of dawned on me, hmm, it's one of those moments. Because in the church, we're so used to reading through the New Testament, and we spend the majority of time in the New Testament. And if we spend any time in the Old Testament at all, it's mostly in the Psalms and the Proverbs and looking at the stories in Genesis and probably the story of King David in First and Second Samuel and such. And just an occasional romp through the different prophets and such, Isaiah and so, but here we forget that the first church, the beginning church, the disciples of Jesus were Jewish. The New Testament wasn't written yet. It hadn't been. I mean, the Apostle Paul wrote pretty much half the New Testament, you know, the epistles and so forth. That covers a big field. And John, he hasn't written Revelation, and the disciples, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, hadn't written the Gospels yet. All this is happening. This is exactly when it was happening. So when Jesus is referring to scriptures, the only scriptures that were written, the only scriptures that the Jews have, and the only scriptures that they accept today, are what we call the Old Testament. They call the Tanakh. So this is a spiritual journey that has been awakened in my spirit to look deeper into the things of the Old Testament. and to explore and to find out, well, where are these things? We know a few, verses here and there because, it mentions that he fulfilled prophecy. So we are familiar with some of them. But I'm wondering if there's more because it just seems that, throughout um, the New Testament, as we look at the journeys of the Apostle Paul, and as he speaks in the congregation, in the synagogues as he goes to, as he's going to the Jewish people first, he's constantly reminding them of the scripture. So he's looking in the Old Testament. So where is it in the Old Testament that talks about Jesus? Where is the picture of the Jesus? Where are the signs that he is to come? And that is my journey. That's where I intend to go. I hope to keep these vlogs or video logs short and sweet, not too long. I got a timer off to the side so I can keep track of things. But this is where I'm at right now. And so I invite you to come with me as we explore, as we journey through the scriptures and we find Jesus, the Messiah, and where he was spoken of, and the signs that point to him. And maybe we can get a little hint in Revelation into what all the symbolism of the book of Revelation is all about. So I'm going to stop right here. Cool.